You've got the cacophony of unpleasant experience, and then you've got this place in the middle of it, or apparent place in the middle of it, from which you're trying to resist this experience, right? Or trying to figure out how to change it, right? So let's say you have a terrible pain, somewhere in your body. There's the pain, there's the strong stimulus of unpleasant sensation, the burning and stabbing and twisting feeling. And then there's this reaction to it from apparently some point outside the pain, very likely, for most people up in the head. I mean, most people feel like they're a subject in their heads that is not truly coincident with the rest of their body. They don't feel, most people for the most part don't feel identical to their bodies. They feel like they have bodies, and these bodies can misbehave in various ways. And again, so you have a terrible pain. The pain's down there. Let's say it's in your knee. You're up here now a hostage being tortured by the misbehavior of the rest of your body, right? And you're trying to find some way of resisting these sensations. And so it is with emotional distress or unpleasant thoughts, right? You can have thoughts that terrorize you. And all of it seems to suggest, I mean, this is the extreme case of stark unhappiness. But even in the best of times, right, even when things are going really well and everything experience is very smooth and we're getting what we want, and our favorite treats are just an arm's length away, and we're filling our mouths with gumdrops or whatever it is, we're gratifying this thing at the center of our experience, and it can never be finally gratified because experience itself is impermanent. It's just you get to the thing you want, and you gorge yourself on it, and then you want a new thing. Then you need a drink of water because this lingering taste in your mouth of chocolate mousse or whatever it is too cloying and too much, and you got to wash that out so that you wouldn't want to stay in that state even if you could. And there's kind of this rolling dissatisfaction, even insatisfaction, that we all encounter, even in the best of times, right? Even when you literally can get anything, more or less anything you want. And yet we know at any moment it can be subverted by something terrible happening. At any moment you can suddenly feel like you might be having a heart attack, right? And then that becomes the thing that this sense of me in the middle of everything collapses upon, and it makes life. I mean, this again, this sense of being in this vulnerable center. Right, it makes life this kind of long emergency that can be pacified by, increasingly strenuous efforts to control experience. We're constantly modifying our experience so as to avoid discomfort, whether it's social discomfort or physical discomfort, or just every correction in our body. I mean, if you just try to sit still for an hour, you'll notice that all of the micro adjustments in posture that you're now no longer making are made because you really don't have to wait long before you feel miserable. I mean, your body, the amount of pain you can get just sitting in the most comfortable chair you can find in your home and just resolving not to move is quite extraordinary. It's just, it's just, there's no position that's comfortable enough that it will be comfortable an hour from now. And so it is, in fact, true to say that for most people, I mean, literally 99.9% of our audience, they couldn't pay attention to the breath for a full minute, say, even if their lives depended on it, right? It's just it's simply not in the cards. It's not. It's the fate of the world could depend on it, and someone who's not really fairly well trained in this just couldn't do it. And so that's interesting, right? What's interesting is that despite your best efforts, you get carried away by thought helplessly moment after moment. Now, being able to break that spell, being able to see thought as thought, I mean, so eventually, once you get some degree of mindfulness in hand, you no longer confine your attention to the breath or any other arbitrary object. You begin to open it up to everything you can possibly experience. So it's just, sights and sounds and sensations and emotions and thoughts themselves can become objects of mindfulness. But when you can, but this is the kind of the crucial, kind of almost binary difference, which produces an immense amount of psychological benefit. The moment you can really notice thoughts themselves as appearances in consciousness rather than what you are in each moment. Because what happens is, in the default case, the thoughts kind of creep up from behind us in some sense. They kind of come out of nowhere, and that just feels like me. And so but the people, listening to us now can feel this. So, we're talking and people are trying to understand the thread of this conversation, but it's that they have a voice in their head that's competing with this, right? They're trying to listen to us, but they're also thinking, right? And so they might think, well, what the hell is he talking about, right? Like there's just some intrusive thought comes in, or like, oh no, wait a minute, he didn't answer the question. That thought, that feels, if you're identified with it, if you don't see it as mere language appearing in consciousness or mere imagery, right? It feels like me. It's like that is the self. And it does have this dreamlike character of both coming out of nowhere and completely seizing the reins of attention and identity and taking us elsewhere. But a lot of these thoughts aren't rational. It's just you're just rehearsing your experience. It's just like, you'll tell yourself the same thing 10 times in a row and you won't be bored on the 10th time. You'll like, if you just imagine what it would be like to externalize your thoughts on a loudspeaker for everyone to listen to, and it was just helplessly, externalized. Every normal person would sound insane, because of the perseveration and just the redundancy and the strange structure to the discursiveness. I mean, this is this is ever present. It's so ever present that it doesn't strike people as strange. But to be presuming we have a dialogue with ourselves as though the I could talk to the me, and that made any sense at all. It's like, I'm sitting here and getting set up for this interview, right? And I'll think, oh, I got to get some water, right? Now, I know. If I'm the one to say it, I know I need water. It's like I'm telling someone else. So there are two levels at which we can address this problem of thought and its connection to suffering. And one is at the level of thought itself, right? It's like you can replace bad thoughts with better thoughts, right? You can triangulate on your tendency to have one kind of conversation with yourself and engineer a better conversation with yourself.